Yeah. It's we're still gonna be trying to run for a championship with the 45, but obviously more disappointed for Kurt than anything for sure.
Did the fact that could be the beneficiary, did that play into the decision at all? Like the fact that it could help another Toyota team?
It didn't play into our decision or anything like that. If anything, maybe it benefited Blaney more than Truex. From Joe Gibbs' perspective, it certainly doesn't benefit him because he's got the 19 car still out. So the 19 car still needs to win to get any benefit for Joe.
It still is a doctor's choice, though, right? I mean, it's the doctor will decide.
If he's not clear, he's not clear, and if he's not ready, he's not ready. So nobody can force that.
What about the philosophy that, with this, you allow another person in and some purists? Some people really like that idea, and some are like, ooh, should you really allow?
Right.
What about that conversation?
Well, I mean, if the people want 16 drivers to battle for a championship, then you have to add somebody. If otherwise, there's 15. I mean, I don't know that it matters from our standpoint, but certainly I think NASCAR deems that they want to have a bracket with 16 drivers, and so you just put the next one that is running the spot in.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, he could have helped himself. I mean, if he came back even 4 or 5 races into the playoffs, he theoretically could have improved his own points position. I know there really isn't any bonus money involved in that, but did that play into any sort of decision, or was it if he can't make the first race, he shouldn't be in?
Well, I don't think that we're not holding out hope that Kurt can come back at some time, but I think that he deemed the chances probably of him coming, if he did come back later, the chances of him winning a championship would not be very high. So why not, give up that spot? And that's honestly a Kurt decision more than anyone else.
Denny, there's a situation where maybe it's in Martin's best interest to help push Ryan to the win, because if Ryan wins, Martin gets in points and he's safe. If Martin goes that route as opposed to maybe potentially helping you, can you see that? Or is that going to be the competitors going to have that frustration of not being helped by their teammate to win a race? I mean, look, you're still going with the playoff points. There's a lot you're going after, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it comes down to it, though, and say we're 1 through 3, the 3 of us, I would think he'd push me over Ryan. I mean, simply because I'm locked in just like Ryan is, and it still gets him in. But, I mean, I would imagine that they would. I don't know. I mean, I guess they try to stay close to each other. I'm not really sure the strategy on that. Last year, Larson did that with me. It drove me absolutely crazy. I was trying to shake and add points, and he just kept following me everywhere. Normally, you'd want that on the super speedway, but when you're trying to get points on somebody, when they follow you, it's not very easy. So, but yeah, I don't know what their individual strategies will be. I think Joe Gibbs Racing probably still wants Martin to go out there and try to win the race to get him in the playoffs that way.
Is it easier with you being a team owner to understand where Kurt's coming from, especially since you've been at it just about as long as he has, and how difficult it is for him to sit out when he did have such a competitive year going?
He did, and he just kept, that team and him just kept getting better. So that's the tough part about it, is we had so much momentum going with that 45 car before that happened. So, I mean, that part of it's tough, but it's the only thing I can relate is to when I had to sit out races because my back injury in 2013. I mean, it sucked in, but for him, I mean, it's nothing physical as far as like something that hurts. It's just something that is not right in the brain. So, that's something that you got to have 100%. You can't fake that part of it. The results will show in your performance and anything else on the racetrack if your mind's not right. So I know he's frustrated, emotional about it, and we just want to support him in any way we can and give him the time off that he needs to get better.
You've had a back injury, but you haven't had an issue with concussions, right? Have you had concussions? Have you had your bell rung?
A couple times for sure. There's one time, especially Talladega. I think I went. I'm not sure the year, but that was a pretty good one. But yeah, it's just these cars hit hard. I mean, that's just part about it. It didn't matter what generation cars. These things, if you hit at the right angle, they can really get you. So Kurt just had an unfortunate set of circumstances this year where he just has a few back-to-backs and just the less accelerated hits in these cars are harder than the hits on the old cars. So it just, you add all those little things up and it all adds up.
Denny, when Bubba came in earlier, he said obviously everyone at 2311 is bummed for Kurt, and he kept saying he's racing for Kurt, that kind of solidarity between teammates. What is your role as the team owner to keep everybody in high spirits? Obviously it's disappointing to not have their driver, but to keep them going and keep that car performing well.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to us, and I mean, we'll do everything we can to try to help stack the deck and make that car advance as far as it can into the playoffs. So we'll talk about what that exactly means, but we're still going to try to go out there and move up the standings as high as we can and advance as long as we can. So I just it is one team. We interchange people all the time, pit crews. We've swapped 2 or 3 times just on special races. So it just, that's kind of what we're built around. I mean, Billy essentially builds the setups for Bubba's car, and Booty sets up Billy's car on the surface plate. So it's just, that's kind of the way our team works.
Denny, with Bubba, he has a teammate in Kurt Busch who had so much experience here. Now gets traded out for Ty Gibbs, who's only run one Xfinity race at this type of track at Daytona. And I'm curious, with so few numbers for the Toyotas, what do you do, or what can you do to help Ty, or talk to him about what his duties are and responsibility to help Bubba and just trying to keep up with him, because this is a whole new experience for Ty, and this is probably, I'm guessing, a lot to ask of a driver, a tough situation to be coming in.
It is, and I mean, it's he's going to be learning a lot the first few laps and in the draft with those things. I know he's really studied a bunch this week, but it's been clear to him that we want to try to get the 23 car in there, and that's your job to help there, just like it's my job to help the 19 car do as well as he can throughout the day. I'm still going to try to get playoff points for myself, but anytime I can help without hurting myself, I'm going to do it. So.
How easy is it to stay on the bumper of a car in this type of situation? Especially
in this one, it's a little easier. This car, it's a little bit easier than the previous car. It's just, you can't really pull out in this car 3 wide like you used to be able to in the because of the drag numbers. So it's just, this car definitely drafts and drives differently than the previous generation.
Any conversations with Kyle Busch about potential opportunities with 2311?
I mean, right now we have a driver for 2023. That again, it's right now we're all week to week.
Were you guys the one who brought up to Kurt, hey, do you think you should pull out of the playoffs?
No.
Was he the one who brought it up?
No, this is a Kurt thing. This is definitely not us by any means. We've been very clear and transparent with Kurt that we're going to support him no matter what. If he wants to stay in there and come in for the last race of the first round, let's go try to win it. So he just felt like this is the best decision for him, not to hold somebody else back from going for a championship that he thought maybe had a better chance at it. It's still unknown whether he would be able to come back. So this is all Kurt's decision, and his future will always be his decision.
How has
Does
it
it surprise you? That's a hard decision to make, right? I mean,
It's very hard. I mean, I can't imagine. Honestly, I can't imagine.
With Kurt's status unknown, when you start looking ahead to 23 and saying, hey, we have to make a decision on a driver for the 45 car, what point is that?
I mean, we've already thought about 2024, so trust me, 2023's been thought about.
How has Kurt been in the war room? I hear he's going to do that again this weekend, but he has added a lot there. How is he behind the scenes?
He's good. I mean, he's still helping Ty kind of through practices, qualifying the races. He's helping with our debriefs on Monday, giving observations of what he sees. And that's kind of what the role he's going to be with us long term is going to be anyway. So he's just kind of moving into that role temporarily while he's sidelined.